Hello everybody, Danny Music Man here, and welcome back to the channel. I hope all of you have had a fantastic day today. Guys, it's time to start predicting, it's time to start theorizing, it's time to start wondering what the heck is gonna happen in Final Fantasy VII Part 3. If you watched my video titled This Game Broke Me, you'll know that recently I got done playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is part 2 of the trilogy, the remake trilogy for Final Fantasy VII, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It's probably the best game I've played in the last 4 years. It was absolutely fantastic. For sure, top 20 game I've played all time. Could it reach into the top 10? I don't know, only time will tell. But in this video, I just kind of want to talk about, you know, as a perspective of a new Final Fantasy VII fan, someone who hasn't played the original game. I know like almost nothing about the original game. I know that the Arbiters of Fate, though, weren't in the original game, and that the remake trilogy is kind of like a pseudo-sequel. But other than that, I know very little about the original Final Fantasy VII. I haven't watched Advent Children, I have not played Crisis Core, and I am only planning on sticking to Remake and Rebirth until Part 3 comes out, because from what I understand, pretty much everything Final Fantasy VII related assumes that you've beaten the original game. So I don't want to spoil anything for myself. I will be sticking to Remake and Rebirth. So this perspective of wondering what's going to happen in Part 3 is from a new player's perspective. So maybe you watching, you've played the original and you already know what goes down, and you know, oh, okay, they changed this, oh, they didn't change this at all, that kind of thing. But for me, brand new player, don't know anything about the original, so I'm going into this fully blind, and this video is mainly for new players who are wondering what the heck's going to happen, and we're going to do some predictions and some wishes, and my wishes as to what I want to see in Part 3. So let's get down to it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is basically what I like to call Cloud's breaking point. And this is pretty self-explanatory. I think that there will be a moment in Part 3 where Cloud is basically just going to lose it mentally. He's just going to be completely incapacitated in the brain, and he's going to lose his mind practically. And I think the way that this is going to play out is that I'm sure Sephiroth and Cloud are going to see each other at least one more time in Part 3. I mean, it's got to happen, right? And I think that in this meeting between Cloud and Sephiroth, they're going to basically say, Sephiroth is going to be like, look, man, you did not save her. You refused to see the truth with clouded eyes. That's straight up what he says to Cloud at the end of Rebirth when Cloud is holding Aerith. And Cloud thinks to himself, but I saved her though. I swear I saved her. No, I saved her. I saved her. And we all know, the entire crew, Sephiroth, the audience knows, you didn't save her. She died, and you just refused to accept the truth that you didn't make it in time. You didn't save her. And I think that this is going to break Cloud, and it's going to come to a head, and he's just not going to be able to handle it. And he's going to break, and he's going to lose his mind basically. So I think that could happen. That's something that I'd like to see. That's just a prediction, but who knows? We'll see. The next thing that I want to talk about is what I just like to call the Cloud and Tifa emotional release. So my prediction, and what I hope to happen, I'd love to see this scene happen, is basically where Cloud and Tifa have this emotional release, or it's just some sort of interaction with each other, whether it's as simple as a conversation or something as maybe as crazy as some live stream related moment. I think there'll be a moment where Cloud and Tifa are basically just going to emotionally release and reveal their feelings towards each other, talk about everything that's happened, and it's going to be very personal, and it's going to be a great hard-hitting scene. And I think this could be after the Cloud breaking point moment that I mentioned earlier, and I think basically Tifa is going to be like, look, man, you're all I have left. I don't have my mom and dad anymore. Aerith is gone. You're all I got. And this is going to be such a hard-hitting scene, because I think this is my prediction. This is what I talked about in Part 3 in the comments section, where I think in this conversation, this is where we will see the iconic scene of Aerith being laid into the water. That's where I think that they've been saving this scene for, is Cloud and Tifa are going to have the conversation. Cloud is basically going to accept the truth, and we're going to get moments and flashbacks to Aerith being lowered in the water, because that's what Cloud actually saw. But we, the player, didn't see that, because we're seeing it from the perspective of Cloud, which at that moment in Rebirth, Cloud was, you know, he was all sorts of effed up. He refused to see the truth. But now, with Cloud accepting the truth, and my prediction is that we will finally see the Aerith being lowered into the water scene. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So that's my prediction. I hope that's right, because that would be so cool to see, and I'd love to see that. And yeah, so for all the Cloud and Tifa shippers out there, this is probably going to be the absolute peak for you guys. So I'd love to see that. The next thing that I want to see is basically Zach being more involved in part 3. And here's the thing, I know nothing about Crisis Core, and from what I understand, it's a good thing because Crisis Core assumes that you've beaten the OG. The only thing I need to know, and the only thing that I've researched, is that Zach originally, he dies at the end of Crisis Core. And we know in the remakes, he lives, and it's very strange. But I love to see Zach being more involved in part 3, and I think he will, because at the end of Rebirth, we see him in the church, and he's like, you know, he's just sitting there, and he's like, it couldn't have been a dream. It's because I think he's in our world now. He's in our reality. The main world that we've been playing through in Remake and Rebirth, he's in our reality now, and I think that Zach is he's going to be a more integral part in part 3, so that would be absolutely fantastic. And a quick side note too, I'd love to see Zach and Aerith, maybe at the end of the game, somehow they're reunited in some form and they see each other again. It's gonna be another very emotional scene. I'd love to see that, hopefully. Will that happen? I don't know, we'll see. The last thing that I want to see personally, and this is the big one, this is what I call the Tifa mystery. Because as we know, Sephiroth tells Cloud, you saw her die, so who is she? And we see, you know, at the beginning of chapter 1 in Rebirth that Sephiroth slices Tifa. And if I'm remembering correctly, Cloud thinks Cloud saw her die, and he's having these moments like, wait a minute, no, how can you be here? I saw you get slashed by Sephiroth. How can you be here? And I have no theory for that. I have no idea what's going on. Only time will tell. I'd love to find out what that mystery is. You saw her die, so who is she? Could it be Sephiroth effing with Cloud? Could it be Genova effing with Cloud? I don't know. And the other mystery too that kind of plays in with the Tifa mystery is, where has Cloud been the last 5 years? We don't know. And I think this is where part 3 is going to shine. It's going to answer a ton of questions. It's going to be a cathartic experience for everyone who has questions about maybe the ending of Rebirth, you know, what's going on with, you know, the world's things, Sephiroth, Genova, the Tifa mystery, where has Cloud been in the last 5 years mystery. The thing with the Cloud mystery is that I think for the last 5 years, he has to be involved in some sort of something related to like an experiment. I'm guessing because we see that scene where when they travel back into Nibelheim in Rebirth, Cloud is, you know, he's looking at all those like pods, or I forget what they're called, the thing that says Genova at the top, and he's like looking at it and he's like freaking out. I think something's going on there. Something about that scene pertains to where has been Cloud in the last 5 years. That's my prediction. So I don't know what's going on. There's a whole lot of questions and a whole lot of mysteries. Hopefully that all made sense. And yeah, it's going to be such an exciting game, man. The final thing that I want to see, and I'm saying this with a straight face, I basically know nothing about the OG Final Fantasy, but I do know one thing for sure. Under the High Wind. That is a straight face. I don't want to see it happen. I just want to see it be implied that that went down. Again, that's a straight face. If you know, you know. Anyways, guys, hopefully that all made sense and was kind of, you know, just a fun little thought experiment for what we could expect us new players in part 3. If you're a new player and you've only played Remake and Rebirth, what are you excited to see in part 3? Are you excited to see, you know, kind of the things that I talked about, or are you excited to see something maybe a little bit different? And do you have different predictions, different theories about all the things that I talked about? Please let me know. And yeah, if you're an OG fan, you probably already know what happens, and we'll just see if I'm right or wrong. I'm probably, I don't know. I don't think I'm right or wrong. I just think it's fun to think about, you know, what could possibly happen in part 3. But I do know for sure that part 3 is going to be an absolute freight train, bullet train of emotions, catharsis, answers. It's going to be absolutely insane and has the potential to be probably one of the best games I've ever played. But we'll only find out in 3 years if that statement is true or not. So anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching, and let me know your theories and your predictions in the comments below for part 3 if you're a new player. So thank you everybody very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.